What are some life-saving tips you think people need to know, and in what situation would they be used? If you get kidnapped, try to leave as much traces of yourself behind as you can. For example, leave bits of clothing behind, or scratch your arms a lot to leave dead skin behind. This way you increase your chances that a search dog could pick up your scent and find you. Just pee and spit on everything so they can bloodhound the shit of your trail. When walking in Big 5 territory, if you encounter lions, don't run. If they come towards you, growling, it's to say you are too close, but they will not attack you. Just walk away slowly and don't lose sight of them. Or stand your ground. Intelligence is your biggest weapon then. Shout and clap your hands and they will run away. Source: Anchorage Wildlife Guide, with more than 10 encounters with wild lions in the last year. Seriously, don't run. If you smell a fish smell in your house, some people also report a urine-like smell, for no reason. 9 times out of 10 it means there's an electrical fire. If you're being tied up, puff yourself out as much as possible, so it'll be easier to wiggle out of. Tense muscles, inhale deep and stretch out your arms and legs to make more space. The best defense against an aggressive bear is to get some sort of large object, like a large tree or car, and just keep moving around it, keeping it between you and the bear until they get bored and leave. Bears are way faster than people in straightaways, but cannot maneuver around the object as quickly due to how big they are. Do not try and climb the tree, just keep it between you and them. This is known as the squirrel defense. Now if there are 2 bears, if giving aspirin to someone having a heart attack, make sure they chew it. It works far faster that way. If you're performing CPR on someone who's stopped breathing / heart has stopped, don't stop until EMTs take the body away. Don't stop after 2 minutes thinking, well, that didn't work. CPR typically won't cause the victim's heart to suddenly start and or for them to jerk awake. It's mostly to force blood circulation to prevent brain death. You're not forcing life into them, you're preserving a corpse to keep a revivable state. Never give an unconscious diabetic insulin. Please. It's quite likely to kill them. Yes, I'm a type 1 diabetic and that's the last thing you'd want to do. If a diabetic is unconscious and it's due to the diabetes, it's because of low blood glucose. Insulin is used to lower blood glucose as usually that's what the body naturally does, but for diabetics it's not the case. The right thing to do is search whatever they have with them, as they'll likely have a red plastic case which resembles a small pencil box. Picture below. Inside will be a syringe and a vial with a white substance in it. Picture also seen below. You want to inject the syringe into the vial, empty the contents of the syringe into it, remove the needle and shake the vial violently, but be careful not to drop it. Reinsert the needle and draw the contents, and finally inserting it in the back of their arm, the tricep area, or next to the belly button on either side, whichever is easier to get to. If a service dog comes to you for attention, immediately locate their owner. They could be using a last-ditch effort to get help. A few months ago, when I was on a delivery for work, I was stopped by a dog who ran out in the middle of the road, residential. I got out and tried to move the dog, but it followed me all the way to the door of my delivery. Once I was done, I checked the dog's tag to bring it home, and I noticed he had all kinds of medical tags. After I realized what the dog was trying to do, I ran towards the correct address and the dog led me through a screen door on the porch. His owner was passed out on the floor, and I called 911. A person who is drowning doesn't look like people drowning on TV. When someone is drowning, they rarely cry out, can't wave their arms around, and will often just bob/sink at the surface for a very little while, often gasping before submerging. Don't expect it to look like the movies when you're keeping an eye on swimmers. In the US, and I think some other Western countries, you can notify your Department of State that you are going overseas for free. I think it is the Smart Traveler program. This means in event of a natural disaster / political issue / etc, they will know you need evacuation. They also update you on the state of the country as time goes by so you don't accidentally collide with some trouble. A lot of accidents happen just by being in the wrong place at the wrong time, so if you're traveling, it might be worth looking into. Also, embassies/consuls have emergency numbers they answer 24 hours a day. Save, on your phone, this phone number of your nearest embassy/consul when abroad. If you get in many kinds of trouble with the police, other legal issues, medical stuff, if you're a victim of a crime, lost your passport, etc., they can help you much more effectively than your family/friends back home can. Do not pull objects, knife, glass, splinter etc. from a deep wound. They might be sealing or slowing flow from an artery, or they might cut an artery when you pull them out. Put pressure around such an object to slow bleeding till emergency responders take over. If it's in someone's eye, don't pull it out. Wrap it to secure if possible. Cover both eyes to minimize them trying to look around and cause damage. If someone is choking, but they are coughing/talking, do not intervene. Let them cough it out. The ability to cough is a sign that air is able to get in and out, and that they only have a partial obstruction in their airway. If you try to intervene with the hemorrhage or back blows, you could force it out, or you could dislodge the blockage and cause a full obstruction. Obviously, if they are not breathing or coughing, then you should definitely administer back blows. Just remember to check in between each one in case you partially dislodge the object. If you fall into water, don't panic. You don't have to be able to swim, you just have to float. Hold your breath and let yourself bob to the surface. If someone is in trouble in the water, they will absolutely kill you in mindless panic. Bring something with you, a float, a rope, a towel, and use that to bridge the gap between you so you can tow the person in. If you must make direct contact, come up from behind and slip your arm across the victim's chest. Pull the victim's back to your chest and keep his/her arms facing away from you. I've been in the death grip of a fat little 8-year-old and he nearly took me out. If a panic drowner does grab you, do everything in your power to go down toward the bottom. Most will let go, that's the last place they want to go. Recognize that even if you are both a strong swimmer and a trained rescuer, you are still risking your own life if you go to the aid of a swimmer in trouble. Take it very seriously. If you're stuck in a stampede, as soon as you get knocked down, your chances decrease significantly. If this is the case, however, and you can't get up immediately, assume a protective posture with your feet tucked up and your hands covering your head. Try to position your face in the direction the crowd is moving so you don't get kicked, and try to get back on your feet as soon as possible. I had a friend get lost and go down a logging road and get snowed in. She was reported missing for several days. When they found her, she'd managed to keep herself alive by packing the single water bottle she had with her with snow, placing it on the roof of her car, and waiting for it to melt. Then she'd drink and repeat. If she hadn't thought to do this, she'd be dead. She had frostbite on her toes, but after several weeks of physical therapy made a full recovery. A few survival tips for mainly the desert, but also a lot of places. If you are lost in the desert, or a lot of places for that matter, the number one thing you can carry to increase your chances of being found is a small reflective mirror. Anytime a plane flies overhead, you can reflect light towards them, and you greatly increase your chances of being found. This seriously is more important than carrying more water with you. Not that water doesn't help, it's just not realistic to carry that much water on your back. Furthermore, if you get stranded in the desert with a vehicle, do not leave your vehicle to find people. You are a lot harder to see than your vehicle, and your car can provide shelter. Your car has some good reflective mirrors to signal with, especially the rear view mirror. People die all the time doing this, often found only mere miles from their car. Finally, the universal sign for needing to be rescued is waving two arms up and down. If you wave only one arm to a passing plane, you will not be helped, or at least less likely to be helped. Also, because a few people have been wondering what to do if you can't use both of your arms, there is another universal way to signal for help. that is more versatile. The way I can best describe it is 3 of anything quick signal. 3 gunshots, 3 whistle blows, 3 flashes of a flashlight, 3 flashes from a reflective mirror, etc. Just make sure they are spaced widely enough, at least 1 second, and that you spend a considerable time before making your next 3 signals. There have been many deaths that could have been prevented had this advice been followed. If you get caught in a rip current, swim horizontally / parallel to the shore at the fastest speed you can comfortably maintain. Don't worry that you're going further out. Eventually you'll be out of the current and can slowly head back inland. Try to swim against it and you'll just tire yourself until you drown. Drug users or alcoholics often use in the same places / with the same people around the same time a day, so your body is conditioned to that, and when you are in these familiar situations your body is basically preparing for you to use drugs. When you switch up your normal routine your tolerance is actually lower, because your body wasn't triggered by your surroundings. This is important to consider to prevent people from overdosing by using a similar amount as normal in a situation where their tolerance wouldn't be the same. Situational specificity of tolerance effect. When you're making a turn across oncoming traffic, keep your wheels pointing straight ahead until the opportunity comes for you to make the turn. If your wheels are facing into the turn and someone hits you from behind, they will push you into the oncoming traffic and dead you will go. It's likely too late for anyone to see this, but hopefully this helps a few. Nuclear warfare is a serious threat that hasn't been mentioned yet. The following was common knowledge during the Cold War era, but most people my age don't know what to do in a nuclear disaster. In a nuclear explosion most of the damage and death is caused by the shockwave the blast creates, not the fireball which has a comparatively small radius. One day you may find yourself outside, or looking out a window, to see an extremely bright flash. As bright as if you were staring straight at the sun. Do not attempt to locate the source of the flash. You have maybe 8 to 10 seconds to respond, if you're far enough away from the fireball. Lay face down on the ground, and put your thumbs in your ears and fingers over your eyes. Breathe through your teeth. Since you're laying face down the shockwave will mostly pass over you. If you're standing up it can cause your lungs, eardrums, and other organs to explode. Once the shockwave passes over you, you need to find shelter immediately. I said before that most death from the explosion is caused by the shockwave. Well, far more death is subsequently caused by nuclear fallout after the blast. Do not attempt to travel anywhere. Just get underground. If you're next to a complete stranger's house or a business, don't hesitate to go inside and hide out under as much concrete and steel as possible. You need to remain in this location for the next 48 hours. This is critical. Even if you survive the blast, if you attempt to go home and spend just 20 minutes outside traveling you will more than likely die of radiation sickness. Radioactive material after a blast decays exponentially and you will be safe to try and find your loved ones after 48 hours. If you don't wait this out, you definitely won't be alive to find them. When you're ready you need to leave the city and get as far from the fallout as you can. Posted before but relevant here. If you see someone wearing a motorcycle helmet have an accident, do not pull their helmet off for any reason. By all means, loosen the chin strap, but leave the helmet on and let the paramedics or doctors deal with it. You don't know what that helmet is holding together. If you think you're being followed, turn right 4 times. Since you'll get to the same place they shouldn't be following you anymore. If they do, you might be in trouble. Since it's a common warning that you shouldn't go home when you think someone is following you, the smartest is to go to a police station. If someone is beating you and you can't resist, the best is to lie on the ground and cover your head. This is usually known because it obviously protects the most important place in your body, but it is also important because it will make the aggressor feel guilty and probably leave you. If I'm having a seizure, don't move me, wake me or try to stick a spoon in my mouth. Instead, start timing it, move things out my way and ring an ambulance if it's the person's first seizure / you don't know them. Asterisk, this doesn't apply for me as I have them so often. Only if I go blue or it's over 5 minutes. If you know someone with epilepsy, ask them what to do in their case. When someone comes round from a seizure, they are usually confused and dazed. They may have memory loss and not be sure where they are or who you are. It's okay to say you had a seizure, but everything is okay. I'm such and such, your friend / husband / random stranger, and you're here at X place. Edit. If you want to find out more about epilepsy, I recommend Epilepsy Action. They're a UK charity. Here's the page on different types of seizures. Here's more than just the type we see on TV. How to use a EpiPen. It's for when someone is having a severe allergic reaction. Super easy and most models are the same. Take pen, auto-injecting syringe, out of tube, then take the blue safety cap off the non-injecting end, stab with a swinging motion the orange needle end firmly into the affected person's outer thigh. You won't see a needle, it pops out when the orange end is depressed. There is no need to remove basic cloth / pants first. You will hear and feel a click / pop. Hold it there for a few seconds. Call your emergency response number if someone hasn't already. If you are giving CPR and worrying about getting the compression timing right, just do it in time with another one bites the dust. Or if that makes you uncomfortable, you can also do it to staying alive point. When I was going through EMT school, my instructor told us about one of the paramedics who got in trouble because he was audibly saying another one bites the dust, and another one does, and another one does, and the PT's parents were standing there. FAST, which is a way to identify if you or someone else is having a stroke. Facial drooping, a section of the face, usually only on one side, that is drooping and hard to move. This can be recognized by a crooked smile. Arm weakness, the inability to raise one's arm fully. Speech difficulties, an inability or difficulty to understand or produce speech. Time, if any of the symptoms above are showing, time is of the essence. Call the emergency services or go to the hospital. If you ever need to break your car window, all headrests detach, and the metal ends are meant to be used to break the glass. Helpful if you are in a sinking car. This is for driving on snowy or icy roads. If you ever start skidding, do not brake. That will only lock the tires and mess you up harder. What you need to do is take your feet off the pedals and steer with the skid until the tires find grip again. Subscribe for more videos like this, and yes, I'm a bot. What's your problem?